Australia is a bucket list destination. Aww. But who in their right mind would volunteer to sit in an economy seat for 20 plus hours? Qatar's Qsuite is to die for, but it comes with a hefty price tag of nearly $10,000. So we were celebrating when we managed to snag a return flight for less than $500. Hello and welcome to the gardens here at Doha Hamad International Airport. In today's video, really lucky to get this with points, that's the first thing I'm going to point out, but we're flying from Doha to Melbourne with Qatar in the Qsuite. Points, also called air miles, can be accumulated by flying. Qatar Airways is part of oneworld, as well as these other airlines. Now oneworld refers to air miles as avios, and the higher cabin you fly, the higher the return. For example, flying Finnair's beautiful Airbus A350 from Amsterdam to Helsinki will credit you with up to 2,600 avios, depending on which cabin you fly in. The longer the distance, the higher the return. For example, when we flew American Airlines in first class, and what a hell of a trip that was, we received a much more generous 18,000. But we'll reveal how we managed to book this and the total cost of avios in cash later in the video. That's the gardens, which are absolutely beautiful. You get a chance to see them, please do. It doesn't matter whether you're travelling economy or not, it's free to everyone. And now we're off to the lounge. When it comes to lounge access, Qatar separates its frequent flyers from its business class passengers. So today I can use the Al Marjan business class lounge via the garden. When I travelled in economy a few months ago, the computer said no. Don't be tempted by the lounge in front of you. That would be a big mistake because it's owned by Louis Vuitton, and don't think for a second it's complimentary. We made a lucky and quick escape to our right before they could even entice us inside. Despite its sheer size, this is one of the best lounges in the world. The height of the ceilings is at least 5 meters tall, and it's carefully laid out so it appears opulent, but not like a bus stop full of chairs. The staff of course are really consistent and they're incredibly welcoming, despite being open 24 hours of the day. This morning we departed London Heathrow on board the colossal and beauty that is the Airbus A380, but that was 8 hours ago and we could both do with a freshen up. The showers, of which there are plenty, but oddly don't feature a toilet, big design mistake, can be found to the left hand side of the lounge. It's worth noting, if you come to the newer lounge, there seems to be a lot more showers than in the main one, where they're sort of split into like fours. You have to walk a very long way to get to the other section of fours, so if you're coming for a shower, I would come here. Rent is making the most of the shower, and I'm happy to wait though, taking in the beautiful ambience of this long marble water feature. But we should really be on the move because our flight will be boarding shortly. So it's always an absolute pleasure and experience to have a shower in the airport after a long flight when you're feeling a bit grubby. It's so refreshing. Before we go on the flight, there's just one tradition we need to carry out, which we do every time we come to Doha. And that's to see the giant yellow teddy bear that was commissioned for the Qatar royal family. We don't always agree with Skytrax, but there's always a competition between Singapore and Doha to be the best airport.
Keep getting me killed. I thought you had my back.
Oh, not again.
And in 2024, Doha won the title. If you don't have lounge access, there are so many attractions to see and to find, and the architecture is just stunning. Since making the booking about 12 months ago, we've been paranoid ever since that they would have downgraded us because we use Avios for a cash paying customer. And this happens occasionally, but it's pretty annoying when it happens. If it happens before check-in, then you can always try and ask for a different route, time or carrier. But if it's at the gate, then you may just have to go along with it. Luckily, we've made it on board and not been asked to move. On today's flight, Qatar is using its high-capacity Boeing 777-300, which also features Qsuite over 2 different sections. For today's flight, we've picked row 5, E and F, which are unusual because they are backwards facing, but also closer together. The forwards facing ones in the following rows you can see are further apart. If you prefer to sit close to the window, and who wouldn't, sorry Brent, the odd numbers are closer, while the evens are closer to the aisle. Welcome on board Qsuite, which is a really revolutionary business class product. Before takeoff, the cabin crew, who are typically welcoming and so on form, have offered a welcome drink. How can we say no to a Qatar signature drink? QR904 to Melbourne departs Doha at 20:50 at night, covering a staggering 7,445 miles, arriving at 18:25 the next day. Let's just hope I get some sleep, so it's lucky that the cabin crew is dishing out some complimentary pyjamas, size large. We have no doubts in our minds that this is the best product in the sky, and that the privacy and luxury it brings is just incredible. I'm not so bothered about being open up the space, so that 4 people or family can chat and eat together. Even if I did have kids, I don't think I'd want them to enjoy the high life so early in their years. When it first came out, it was revolutionary, and it's still somewhat unmatched today, even though they've announced a version 2 at this year's Farnborough Air Show. The current product features a 21.5-inch HD touchscreen display, which is delicious, and the seat is 79 inches when fully flat and 21.5 inches in width. We're still debating if the older seat on the Airbus A380 is just a little bit more comfortable. What do you guys think? The footwell does lose a tiny bit of space because of the seat in front, but it's still incredibly comfortable and won't stop you sleeping on your side. Being so modern, there are endless options for headphones, charging, and they even have a do not disturb button, should you wish the crew to leave you to rest. It may be plastic, but I love this marble-esque side table, and the best aspect of this product is the beautiful rose pink door.
Beside me here in the flight deck, our captain, senior captain Hall, and our first officers, Mr. Gabriel and Karen.
For safety reasons, with the exception of handheld personal electronic devices in flight mode, the use of electronic devices is not permitted for takeoff and landing.
The world is beautiful, yet chaotic at the same time, and hidden within its web of streets are people waiting to tell a story. The smells, sounds and smiles. Life is a journey, where will it take you?
Why didn't you call? Why didn't you?
Shortly after takeoff, the lighting was plunged into darkness, to give people the option to sleep or not. But me and Brent were excited to eat as Qatar usually has excellent catering options, and we've never been disappointed. Here's a copy of the menu that was available on board today's flight. Now Qatar has dine on demand, so you can order whatever you'd like at any point during the journey. The meal service starts off with an amuse-bouche of scallop, with a side order of turbulence. And for the starter, we both opted for the lobster, prawn and crab. Hoping to get a good sleep, I washed this down with a delicious cup of karak chai, with an option of saffron or cinnamon. Although I chose not to drink, Qatar has a very healthy selection of alcoholic beverages, so even the snobbiest connoisseur should be somewhat content. Me and Brent are like two peas in a pod, and the chicken biryani sounded pretty good. Perhaps it's not the prettiest looking of dishes, but my god it was good. My mind was saying yes please, but my stomach had other thoughts, and at risk of being bloated, I decided to skip the dessert, finishing the meal service off with a refreshing towel. Naturally, after so many beverages, it was time for the loo review. The Boeing 777-300 was first launched in 1995, and the one we're flying on today isn't even 10 years old. But still, when they retrofit the plane with Qsuite, they upgraded the bathrooms, and they look anything but dated. Beautiful wood panelling, LED lighting that really helps it feel like a new plane. And the addition of diptyque amenities makes this feel like a more luxurious experience. Window etiquette is a really challenging subject. Do you give in to peer pressure and close it, or just open it when you want? The person in the row behind had decided 6 hours before landing to open it wide open, I guess to get in sync with the local time zone. Unfortunately, I hadn't put an eye mask on and was suddenly woken up. Qatar's in-flight entertainment is called Oryx One. Maybe it's the large 21.5-inch HD display, and I'm really sorry to other airlines, but I absolutely love this system and interface. It's so attractive and inviting. Oryx One has over 4,000 visual and audio options across its movies, TV shows, music and games. There are in fact so many movies that I spend a good few minutes skimming just to find a playlist in my head to watch over the 4 flights we're taking this month. The headphones, after a quick Google, are apparently yours to own on eBay for £45. Shock horror. They are branded with the Qatar logo, and the noise cancelling was excellent, but they were a little bit uncomfortable after 5 hours of use. The second meal service is breakfast, but to the untrained eye, what Brent had could look a bit like dinner, but this is in fact a Middle Eastern breakfast. For a little bit of drama and magic, and the beautiful part of the meal service is Qatar's signature LED candle that really evokes a feeling of the Middle East. I slightly regretted this one, but the pancakes with pecans, fruits and a caramel sauce was delicious, but I did feel a little bit sick after, too much sugar. Finish off the experience, and to increase my sugar dose, oh dear, the cabin crew then handed out these delicious and luxury Latams chocolate tiered boxes, which I simply couldn't eat and saved for later. Usually we're quite sad to get off the plane because it's such a magical experience, and Qatar is no different, but 14 hours on a plane is a very long time. It's safe to say that flying Qatar's Qsuite is life-changing and such a magical experience. The crew were really energetic despite being in the air for 14 hours, and the food was glorious. It's so private, comfortable, and the screen is huge. The only consideration is it could be a little bit claustrophobic over the older product, which will be flying on the return on the Airbus A380 from Sydney, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell below if you want to see our incredible experience. As for the price, well, me and Brett happened to have each enough avios to pay for each way. And we were up at the crack and dawn, well, Brent was, because I was over in Mexico, to secure the seats. In total, the journey from London to Melbourne cost me the sum of 180,000 avios and £392.80 in fees. This is one way, but the fees on the return journey rounded up to about £500. Anyway, thank you so much for watching to the end and following us on our journeys. So until next time, safe travels.